Dear family, at this time we have multiple stellar bodies in direct alignment with the Earth, as well as our Earth core and Sun preparing to align directly with the galactic center. This galactic center is the heart of all universal creation, where birth, death, resurrection, and transformation happen at the end of each evolution cycle. During the in-breath cycle of creation, the ascension timeline, our true God parent returns to claim us. The Father God principle, which is the Yod or finger of God, is pushing us to align with the mother's heart, with the mother's womb, to benevolently force our inner and outer transformation. This transformation is another push towards congruence between the inner spiritual essence and unique energies of which we are all interconnected. We must learn how to be in harmony with the universe, in harmony with ourselves, as then we become in harmony with all things. As we live in greater harmony with our real self, the abundant feeling of being ultimately connected to a benevolent and loving universe is assured. This month's winter solstice alignment locks into place the planetary transharmonic pillar, the Mother's 13th gate, which is the direct portal into the universal heart and into the cores of multiple universes. This pillar moves into the universal core and connects through the Mother's quintessence, the cosmic ether. The quintessence of the universal Mother God principle is the cosmic ether element, of which sparks and animates the terrestrial matter of the elemental life alchemically. The deep core of this universal heart space, which holds the Holy Mother quintessence, is the womb or creatrix field. The mother's heart quintessence becomes propelled and infused within those beings that naturally recognize and accept to merge with her during this time. The application of heart quintessence to the DNA of physical matter is the potential sacred marriage and alchemical rising of the inner Christos. This infers that there will be tangible externalization as the result of this element being introduced to the planetary energy body, which has not been introduced before. This gradual merge with the heart of God will bathe Mother's quintessence to flow into pillars between the planetary body and the personal bodies. Some of us will hold, transmit, or be the transfer agent of the cosmic ether to the planet, as not everyone is ready to embody this frequency. The cosmic ether is the legendary philosopher's stone that has been referred to in ancient alchemy practices. Many have tried to replicate it as an elixir of life in order to achieve immortality. However, in truth, the quintessence of Mother's universal heart cannot be replicated. The ultimate in sacred alchemy and personal enlightenment is the great potential of this upcoming alignment. For those awakening, it will be realized as the great milestone at the end of an era, the end of time as we have known it. Those who are recognized as in alignment with the oneness field of unity architecture will be activated in their personal shields to be a local transharmonic pillar in the macrocosm. These personal pillars connect to the 13th gate circuits. These are gateways that fully lead out of this universal system. Some of us will be using these to support the human soul transits that will occur during these end times. Ending dualism. To merge with the oneness field is not a mental process. It is a being process. One cannot think themselves into the oneness. One must clear their mind and clear their nervous system in order to be relaxed enough to truly just be. Being is the doorway that opens consciousness. For these reasons, during this time cycle especially, it is important to stop pushing from your mind and just be. Be with these times. Feel in the moment to moment. Observe and resolve inner thoughts. Be as present as possible to every activity or non-activity. This is a practice of total mindfulness, being aware of thoughts passing through in the now moment. Be willing to allow the shedding of the skin of painful behaviors fueled by negative thoughts and emotions. Pushing from the mind will be met with incredible resistance at this time. The ego mind is dualistic, so as the support for dualism ends, we must shift how we think and learn how to develop our higher senses. Do your best to have an accepting attitude towards life changes as being appropriate consciousness evolution steps. Otherwise, these changes may cause pain from mental confusion or emotional attachment. These times have had much sensationalism and anticipation, yet as we come to the close of 2012, we have been actively involved in the transition of the end times for quite a long while. We are presently entering the end of an extremely dark and dualistic cycle of time on this planet. Currently, the world of forces of which we are all exposed and the polarity extremes of those forces may appear to be much more amplified in physical matter. This amplification of forces creates an extreme pressure on our minds and our bodies, especially when we have resonance to their polarity pattern. This pushes personal, alchemical, and inner transformation that, when met with a positive and accepting attitude, can shift the intense internal pressure. Internal pressure felt when polarity forces meet in the body is a part of the alchemical shift that can be utilized positively for consciousness growth. If one is willing to accept personal responsibility and accountability to shift destructive thoughts and their emotional states, internal pressure and the discordant pattern is released. The bar has been raised again, and it requires quick and spontaneous adjustments to match rapidly changing frequency patterns. The Armageddon effect. The challenges humanity has living upon an ascending planet is that we experience an extreme paradox of amplified duality in our life experience. While we are actually coexisting the closest to the non-duality essence of the source presence. This is due to the phenomena of polarity amplification in matter. The forces of duality amplify considerably when exposed to variations of higher frequencies. When a force intrinsically exists within non-duality and it is presented or exposed to a dual presence, explosions and implosions between these forces are inevitable. Most of these eruptions are the level of schism existing between the dual nature of the thinking mind and the non-dual nature of intelligent consciousness. When there is a schism, this produces an internal Armageddon effect between the intelligent consciousness and the mental principle or ego in the physical body. This experience is at the personal level and global level, where one may sense a battle between these forces is raging in our body or in the environment. Such are these chaotic times many of us witness as we undergo the ascension cycle on this transforming planet. For those reasons, we must learn to disengage from any mental battle on the inner realms or outer realms and learn to refocus ourselves to find the stillness within. This timeline is very important, as the choice to accept personal sovereignty is very real and available. Personal harmony and greater balance is experienced as a tremendous blessing in our lives when we have made it past mental obsessions or mind control. Conversely, if that choice is not made or upheld, the energetic consequence returns to be enslaved to the forces of mind control that inflict suffering. This is the time to walk the talk, step into personal responsibility for all emotions and thoughts that have been controlling our actions or directing our lifestyle. End of Melchizedek hosting. As the planetary consciousness is ending an evolutionary root race cycle, many of the issues of humanity are being repeated or being surfaced at this time from our past cycles. These patterns repeat because humanity is in amnesia of the past and have forgotten who they really are as spiritual beings. As a result, many of these historical destructive patterns and wars happen again and again without being noticed as a pattern in the masses. As an example, the Israel territory conflict is heightened at this time, as the Melchizedek lines and the House of David is attempting to work out its historical conflicts in the middle of the negative alien manipulation and mind control. Because of the nature of the history of hybridization and hosting of DNA rehabilitation in this last root race cycle, the Melchizedek genetics are being reviewed in the Planetary Timelines Network. The Melchizedek priest-king lines, including the House of David and Solomon, have been manipulated by the negative alien influences to distort the planetary religious system, enforce crucifixion implants, and planetary enslavement. The higher dimensional Melchizedeks are working to repair timelines and the mental bodies that suffer the memory damage propagated from the Holocaust histories and the many crusades of wars waged over God. These histories directly impact the stories told to create the belief system manufactured around Jesus Christ, and the distorted energy architecture of the Christos white light. Repatterning and rehabilitation of Melchizedek consciousness and its collective architecture is required to restore the correct alignments to the Christos light field and the Kristalla unity Merkaba pattern. Melchizedek's collective mind also had memories of electron distortion damage that split and reversed the collective monad bodies. This time requires a life review, being inventoried of the Melchizedek lineages through the multiple recorded histories of memory embeds. As each human being has a life review, the same process happens at a macrocosm levels with the root races and with the specific genetic arrangement of the 12 tribes. Currently, the focus has been on the Melchizedek priest-king lines, which is a universal consciousness that had fragmented itself into many other dimensions. This is a sequence of the rehabilitation of the masculine principled bodies that have been genetically compromised or fallen through the activities promoted of the false king of tyranny on the earth. The monadic exploitation of the Melchizedeks have specific issues related to electron distortion and mental body damage from severe trauma experience. The Melchizedeks are the genetic hosting race of the Earth's ascension cycle. Because we are coming to the close of a root race end cycle, their tour of duty with Earth in this hosting capacity is also ending or coming to completion. This allows a time of review and pause for genetic rehabilitation and integrative healing. This is the promise that Melchizedeks would not be forgotten even if they were fallen and forgot who they really are. This is made possible with the alignment to the mother's heart quintessence, to be rebirthed back into the creatrix field. As a result of this development in the changing of the guard and the institution of genetic healing for the Melchizedek lines, many of us may experience the individual effects of this clearing and shift. Because the Melchizedek line suffered electron distortions which manifested the false king of tyranny through the root mind control history of patriarchal domination. This, in effect, is another level of masculine body reconstruction. For many of us, it will be experienced as an increase of harmony in our own personal body, and that will feel wonderful. However, if we are overly attached to something leaving, when we realize that it is not what it appears to be, this can be painful. Many times, shifts and clearings such as these bring the truth in the hidden circumstance to the surface awareness. This is why learning greater acceptance and forgiveness is so critical for all of us at this time. Cosmic rage. Many different levels of delusions or belief systems are slowly being shattered as many beings begin to realize that their reality is not what they thought it is. This is happening on the earth and many other coexisting realities. There are many other advanced civilizations in simultaneous time that are based on higher mind concepts, however not based on higher unity concepts as consciousness existing as the cosmic sovereign law. These civilizations, including humanity, do not take into account the power of divine consciousness that selflessly exists within the field of pure love, but is not of a hive mind mentality. The exploration and struggle continues to know conceptually what the vastness of God's source is from the mind, while those that embody pure love are capable to experience the source directly. This is the self-realization and spiritual exploration that is being grasped throughout many different dimensional spectrums of existence at this time. The meek shall inherit the earth through the heart of God. When we realize that something we held sacred as a belief system is an illusion, or that we have been purposely manipulated and deceived through mind control, the vast cosmic rage is released. Cosmic rage is the result of the many histories of fragmentation of which our eternal spirit fragmented into the pieces of the immortal spirit. As with each fragmentation into density we plunged, we experienced deeper and deeper schisms of separation from the eternal God Source. This consecutively deeper fragmentation and separation from our eternal spirit was traumatizing to the collective monadic and soul bodies, as we lost our eternal source memory. Some learned immortality was possible by trapping others, then consuming their collective spiritual light source. This is the plight of humanity on this planet. It is mistaken to believe that immortality achieved through enslaving others in order to consume their light source is in equal partnership with the eternal sovereign light of the God Source. This is the manifestation of false, immortal gods in our universal system, those that genetically modify and control others to serve them as slaves. This is a part of the forced reincarnation and false ascension grids used to enslave and trap souls for many cycles in the astral plane, to feed others in higher dimensions to keep their rank as an immortal spirit. This universe has been playing a game of false gods, imposing roles between master and slave. As this universal game comes to an end, and this game is revealed, the cosmic rage is released throughout many, many dimensions of existence. This cosmic rage can be sympathetically felt in one's physical body, and is especially heightened if there is unresolved anger in your body. As this ripples through the planetary fields, it can be experienced as feeling trapped, suffocating, wanting to flee, getting out of here, such as death thoughts, and feeling angry and irritable. Please see the recent blog on our website, Finding Inner Peace, to help resolve and clear anger issues. Externalization of eternal light. As the Universal Mother's heart returns to Earth to claim her offspring, she sets out to release her Holy Son as the externalization of the liquid Christos light. This eternal light is becoming tangible in matter forms in the physical world. This is a gradual embodiment process that will begin the rejuvenation of our various bodily forms by activating previously dormant light body systems. The return of the Christos eternal light is the end of consumptive modeling on this planet. Thus, it begins the gradual and necessary changes of its various impacts upon a consumer-based socio-economic system. This consumptive model both exists in the personal biology and within the collective consciousness as an energy architecture. The microcosm and the macrocosm are reflected in each other. The consumptive modeling architecture was created by the false gods who developed food chains and enforced vampirism of others through genetic manipulation and mind control. The controllers still attempt to maintain their stronghold to enslave humanity in the propagation of media outlets to incite consumptive modeling fears. Genetic modification of foods, chemtrails in the air, oil and gas dependency, pharmaceutical drugs, the lack of pure drinking water, debt enslavement, fear over our financial future, terrorism and war are all examples of consumptive modeling fear. These are all the controller games of consumptive modeling, of which they have had a platform of control to exploit humanity over the last dark cycle. As the energy architecture of consumptive modeling collapses, so do the systems they have been using. These systems cease to be effective working models as the externalization of consumptive modeling existing in people, as well as larger organizations, will become less and less tolerated. This means the external act of manipulation to ensnare another in marketing, deception, or schemes will simply stop working. The external use of force, deception, or manipulation will be directed inside the personal self and personal body. This means anger, control, manipulation, or greed will create backlash to the person that is still thinking this way. Many of these beings, both human and non-human, are very confused at why their control mechanism does not work in the same way that it used to. This change begins with us as an individual, where we are evolving to the point of being weaned off external addictions and cultivating inner sustenance as required for personal self-sovereignty. The rage is being felt by those who realize they are not eternal through the consumption of others' light, and that one must honor sovereignty of each and every being in order to become eternal. Naturally, those that have had it their way, controlling others for a very long time, will not understand how this is changing, and it will make them angry. This controller group cannot see the upper realm timelines changing, as from lower vibration, one cannot see the realms of Christed light being. This, in effect, is the law of one. Each immortal spirit can choose eternal life, however, must be congruent with the existence of inner sustenance and the cosmic sovereign law. The benevolence of God will show us the way to sovereignty, but not at the expense of consuming another's light any longer. In order to do so, one must be pure love as God is. Naturally, this has manifested rage in those that seek to control, as no genetic manipulation or false reality or creature can be made to be eternal. As is the light of Christ in God's domain. The more this eternal light externalizes on the earth physical plane, the more fear the predator will exhibit in the external world. Its rage may be viewed in the collective fields, like a child having a tantrum. See it for what it is. Observe events in the world compassionately, and this will help to dissolve its entrails and residue from impacting your life. Love in action. Many of us on the ascension pathway have been undergoing the gradual initiation into higher frequency embodiment, the spiritual light body activation process, for many years now. Some of us have not always been aware of the incredible challenges and workload we may have had in our life is for the purpose of developing an important consciousness evolution skill set. The required skill sets of spiritual energetic clearing, emotional healing, reclaiming body parts, mental body reprogramming, learning about ascension mechanics, performing grid work, commanding personal space, relationship skills are all necessary self-mastery training for the ultimate integrated spiritual ascension. Those star beings that have been cultivated for future leadership or stewardship roles have been undergoing consciousness training to fulfill these roles. Integrated spiritual ascension is required for all future light leaders, planetary stewards, and future re-educators to be God's love in action on earth and beyond. To become spiritually integrated requires commitment and discipline, to be compassionate, as well as have a willingness to accept personal responsibility. Self-sovereignty cannot be upheld and modeled without personal responsibility and accountability. The love in action cultivated within these light families is the skill set that has been developed for the changing of the guard on planet Earth. This role is to guide an ascending humanity to accept the reality of cosmic citizenship, which is to be responsible towards other life forms that we share in the universe and move into active, multidimensional consciousness. It is this group that begins the next level of their spiritual mission in this coming year with their particular level of skill set and expertise. This will continue for many years to come, both on and off planet. Many of us have learned that the synthesis of extreme polarities in our life experience is how the inner alchemy is accomplished that directly and biologically expands our consciousness growth. We have to live it as experiences. In order to know God, we must face the shadow of fear and expand beyond its limitation. At this time, we are going to the next initiation level, where any lower vibration is being expunged. For some, the next initiation level is planetary service. In the years to come, humanity, whether the choice is to stay on the earth or leave the earth, it will be required to be re-educated to end consumptive modeling and to be rehabilitated from alien machinery and its mind control. We have ascending human beings who are the principle of energy resting in God's love or moving to be guardians of God's love in action. Are you a placement holder of love, or a planetary guardian of love in action. Both roles are very much valued and needed to support the billions of souls to transition through the ascension doorway. False parent. At this time, as our Mother God Parent is returning her heart presence to the earth, many of us will have an opportunity to review the unhealed wounds we have around the false parent. This is a victimizer software program and a collective miasm that has accumulated over many generations of dysfunction. The false parent is the confusion a child has with the belief system that our biological mother or father parent should love, protect, and nurture their offspring. But in actuality, none of these emotional needs are met by the parental role. Additionally, the desire to belong to a family in order to feel connected is not satisfied emotionally. Depending on the level of parental dysfunction, love and emotional needs are ingrained to be abusive, painful, or selfish, and that belief system carries on throughout the life experiences. Without correction of this dysfunction, the digression of the pattern continues to define love with all interpersonal relationships of the child leading into adulthood. As long as the pattern continues, the person will feel disconnected, loveless, have unsuccessful marriages, and will seek defense or coping mechanisms to fill the inner void. The false parent is both a crude victimizer program and the byproduct of the planetary enslavement to produce disconnected and tyrannical human offspring that serve the alien agenda. How a civilization treats women and children is a definitive marker for the consciousness digression or consciousness development of a race. To develop consciousness and begin to heal the parental roles as well as gender roles, this pattern will need to be understood as a cornerstone of humanity's spiritual healing. At this time, we have an opportunity to come into the greater realization that our true parent is our God parent. As we find God deep within our heart center, we will begin to understand how we can be free of this abusive false parent and all the pain we may have suffered from it. As we take responsibility as the real parent, we completely forgive our biological parents and our ancestors and learn to parent our own inner child. We are the mother, the father, and the child. We are all three in one. We can access the inner God parent and ask them to parent and love their child, the physical body. To be a parent requires responsibility to the child. This is one way of understanding self-mastery. To be a firm but loving parent means that the child cannot be allowed to run amok with the body, playing out all of its whims and fancies. The child can hurt itself if it is not given proper parenting and loving discipline in order to learn. During this time, spiritual reflection in order to forgive one's parents, forgive family issues, and resolve other pain related to gender role confusion will be supported to complete these past patterns. Inner balance between the masculine and feminine energies requires that we be cleared of our mother and father distortions. Sacred marriage with God is the layers of our own inner male and inner female in balance. Hieros Gamos is the representative 3 in 1, the mother, the father, and the Holy Son or child. Through the sacred marriage between the mother and father parent, the Christos child is born. As we resolve past pain with our false parent, we remove the karmic buttons that have been damaging or have destroyed our relationships and marriages in adulthood. We then can be freed to have relationships that are sourced in love and not sourced from karmic pain. The spiritual resolution of this will bring many of us on earth an ability to experience the first relationships based purely on love. No karmic history, no gender distortion. Sacred marriage in the Christos light is fully possible on planet Earth. Our personal sovereignty awaits us through the release of fears by applying personal responsibility to our thoughts and emotions. Choose your authority now, knowing that you are God, sovereign, and a free being. As one feels guided, if mental programs have been difficult to control, we have provided an exercise to bring them to one's surface awareness for clearing and resolution. Now is the time to take inventory and get ready for 2013, a brand new year of many positive changes. As we go through this exercise, here are the questions to write out and answer as a commitment to yourself. First, describe your total responsibility for any fears or physical imbalances in your life. Describe the addictions, obsessions, and negative thoughts that you commit you will stop now. Describe your spiritual connection to the universe. Describe the behaviors that you will start. Describe the behaviors that you will stop. Now describe your process of detachment. As you have written this out for yourself, when feeling mentally overwhelmed, return to read what you have written in answer to those questions. Review the responsibility you agreed to have and the commitment you have made to yourself to be liberated from the bondage of the mind. Continue to practice now moment awareness and many other tools available on our website. During this time, let the world unfold and reveal its pathway without pushing and attempting to figure it all out. Allow things to be what they are. Allow people to be where they are at. When personal expectations are shattered from having attachments, practice the skill of allowing. Allow it to be the way that it is. Relax, let go, and allow. A new tomorrow of personal freedom can be achieved and is possible. May these times bring peace to reside deeply in your heart. Stay in the luminosity of your avatar heart path. With much love, signing off, and see you in 2013.